Act Working Group will come to order. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Hassett?
Present.
Councilwoman Harris? Present. Councilman Kinsey?
Present.
Mayor Clements?
Here.
Deputy Dana? Here. Sorry. Commissioner Perry?
Here.
Dr. Vaughn?
Here.
Courtney Hawkins? Here. Justice Gaines?
Here.
Sean Burger?
Here.
Martha Baker?
Here.
Okay, the first item of business is the election of officers. Is there a nomination for the election of chairperson?
I would like to nominate Councilwoman Percy for chair.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any counter nominations? Any counter nominations? Any counter nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Election of vice chairperson. Is there a nomination? Vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Councilman Hassett.
Second. Second. Counter nomination? Counter nomination? Counter nomination? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Chairman?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Want to first of all thank everyone for taking the time to come into this working group, taking the time to come out this evening. I very much appreciate it, and I know everyone on the table appreciates everyone's efforts here. So just thank you. Would it be worthwhile? Does everyone know everyone around the table? Should we just do a round of introductions? You let me know.
That'd be good.
Okay, so I'll start. I'm Brian Principe. I'm councilman in Ward 13, which is all of Federal Hill and part of the West End.
Carmen Castillo, I represent the Ward 9, and I'm here by yes.
I'm Justice Gaines. I live in Ward 1 and here.
I'm Keith Settine, and I'm trying to see what
I'm Martha Baker, Curtis Network. Mary Kay Harris, Ward 11.
Councilman Terry Hassett, Ward 12, Phil Mount Pleasant, Elmhurst, Capital Center, and Culture. Steve Barrett, Commissioner for Oversight.
Courtney Hawkins, from the policy director and years and mayor's designee.
Kenny Bone, President of FOP.
Hugh Clements, 32-year member of Providence Police, 5.5 as Chief of Police.
Well, again, from the city clerk, the city clerk's office will be facilitating the meetings.
Anna Berlin, I work for Prison Providence Youth Student Movement, proud resident of Ward 9, and I'm a public member of the commission.
Thank you, everyone. So, we brought together the working group to air out the wording and the intent of what's listed within the four corners of the document that's before us. And that is what's referred to as the Community Safety Act. So what I'm hoping to do today, since we've gotten beyond the introductions and the organization, is first of all just put out there that we have a time frame of getting a recommendation back to the full City Council for the council meeting on June 1st. So it's a pretty aggressive schedule, but I believe that if we can commit some time to this and some earnestness to this, that we'll be able to work through that and meet that timeline. Okay? So first thing that I think would be important is perhaps if we can look forward at the calendar and propose some dates that we might be able to get together as a group to continue this conversation. We have pretty much next week and the following week to really get through the meat and potatoes of this. And Madam Clerk, just for the record, Councilman, can you please mention that Councilman Correa is present?
So moved.
Thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge that Sid McKenna, Chief of Staff of the Council Office, and Nick Freeman, Chief Policy Director from the Council Office, is also in attendance.
So noted.
Okay. So, would it be possible, how does everyone's schedule look for next week? I'm looking at 2 days, looking at Monday the 15th and Wednesday the 17th.
I am out of the country for 10 days with the Friday.
Okay?
I am not going to do Monday.
Do you have an obligation on Monday?
Or Monday after 4:30. I would be able to do Monday.
During the day you'd be okay, but after? Okay.
Are you, when you're throwing out dates, are you assuming that the meeting would be at around 5 or sometime in the evening?
That's what I'm thinking, is an evening meeting. I know for a fact I wouldn't be able to make meetings that are outside, that are within general work hours.
Wednesday is fine, 17th.
Wednesday the 17th?
Mr. Chairman, to the time is 5 o'clock at Eastern Time.
About 5:30.
Yeah. We can leave it all to everyone here. I think 5:30 is probably a better time. There's a little less congestion on the roads at that time to get here. So would there be any objections to a meeting being scheduled for Wednesday the 17th? That'd be a week from tonight at 5:30. Okay. Now let's go back to the 15th too. We understand that there might be some conflicts, but what about the rest of the group?
What do you want on 15?
The 15th at 5:30.
I don't mind skipping staff meeting.
Okay, so pretty much we know that the commissioner will be out of town. Chief, does that work for you?
I do have a conflict, but I can go.
Okay. Okay. Sergeant? Okay. So maybe we can pretty much settle on Monday the 15th, also at 5:30. Okay? So,
You'll be a little copy here, the clerk's office, no.
yes.
Because
So,
they'll have to plug in.
yep.
We could do that. It is a busy time. We are in the middle of budget
Yeah.
schedule, budget hearings, but I have those both noted. Other than finance on those 2 nights, there will be availability to
Okay.
so it's not
You read it twice a week.
3 finance, 3.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to adjust.
We talked about, we were worried about conflicts like this, and we wondered if we could have an alternate, who could substitute if one of us couldn't make a meeting.
So the resolution calls for designees for certain people, but not for the community members, unfortunately. The public is, obviously welcome to attend the meetings, but as far as designees are concerned, the way the resolution is written, and to go have the resolution rewritten, that will be a problem. You're specifically named as the community members, whereas the chief does have a designee. Jeff Dana has a designee, and he was serving as that position, so it would be either Kate or Jeff, for the same thing for the commissioner, it would be the commissioner or his designee as a member of the committee. With a large group such as this, you're going to have a problem, not a problem, but you're going to be in situations where not everyone's going to be able to make it every night because it is such a large group.
And Martha, obviously, if there's any, points of reference or, points of conversation or discussion, that it can be relayed through any one of us here.
Correct. And all of the meetings, the audios are posted after the meeting, so if you feel that you wanted to catch up on what was going on, you should post them on the after so you can listen in. And any other information that you provide for the meeting from there, here, we will definitely get back to the working group members.
So what I'm hoping to focus on as we continue to meet over the next couple of weeks is, again, to focus on what's listed here within the 4 corners of this document. There's a lot of what amounts to misinformation that's out there in regards to what's being proposed here and talked about. So if as a group we can focus on what's, again, contained within the four corners of this document, I think we're really going to be able to progress through the discussion points. And with that, what I'm suggesting is between now and Monday, we all have homework, basically. And our homework is to read through this. It's an extensive document here, and there's a lot to it. And so we just want to make sure that if there's points of discussion and or question or points of concern, that they're just highlight them and we'll talk through them. And then in the meantime, on Monday, we will set we'll set the time, we'll set a portion of this to talk through, and we'll focus on a portion of it at a time, by design, with the agenda, and then as things come up otherwise, we will be able to identify those as discussion points too. Do you have any questions or comments?
We're going to be trying to separate those things that perhaps are not as acceptable or can be changed generally in the ordinance. You're going to go with the tough ones first. If they're tough, they should just, if you do this, we can beat it this way. I think if you get down to those technical parts of it, that we'll be able to do, because the other stuff is, the definitions are really clear, short and concise. It's those that perhaps we don't, both sides, their sides, or differences of opinion can be met through discussion and perhaps changes or amendments in terms of our recommendation. I think that would probably abbreviate the
Mr. Vice Chair, I think those are good points, and I think that makes sense. The more time we can devote to some of the issues that might be the issues, or some of the points that might be the issues, then it'll only help us as we're moving forward on this. And one other thing that I want to point out, just personally, is despite the physical layout of this table, this is a round table. Okay, so all of your opinions matter to me, all of your opinions count to me, and I have faith in each of you that we'll be moving forward as a group with that sort of sentiment. So we're all in this working group together, and I appreciate everyone being here, and I value your time, and I value your opinions. Okay?
Mr. Chair.
Councilwoman.
Thank you for that introduction. And one of the things that I have been saying I'm concerned about in the last ordinance committee was brought up around the Homewood Charter. I think if I'm not mistaken, statute 49, I think you probably looked at it. And I would like to, in the next meeting, have some clarity around that. Exactly. It says something like, because of where this ordinance is right now, we have the first vote, and it's in between some place that it cannot just be amended so much that it loses its purpose. So I don't know what that means, and I would like to know more about that in the next meeting. If we could start out and try to understand that.
So, Kate, do you have any response to that? Is this something you might be able to look into? And
I'm happy to look into it. I will say that I have room that the answer, I think it's going to be easier for our office to advise when we actually know what we're doing. It's not as though I don't think there's going to be case law interpreting this particular provision of our charter, so I'm not going to be able to say, well, on X occasion, this particular amendment was found to have changed the purpose of the ordinance, and this particular amendment was not. So I'll look at it. I might be able to kind of get back to you, but I'm happy to report back to you next
But I guess we're concerned if there is any amendments, especially ones that are somewhat taken away from the document itself, that it may end up back in a public hearing. And again, hopefully we don't reach that, and if we just up these, probably just be sensitive to the fact that that could possibly happen, and just be, I just want to bring that to the point, because that's a point to me. It will not go into a direction of
Councilwoman Harris and Kate has said. So the actual language in the charter refers to, for those who weren't at last week's ordinance committee meeting, refers to a change in the original intent. There's nothing about substantial or significant, it's original intent, and that would be the point where then it starts all over. It can't go for a second vote. And I was also, along with Kate, interested in sort of what that means and how it gets defined. It's just a little quick look I started to do. The case law, I agree with Kate, the case law is not very clear because a lot of it refers to when a piece of legislation has already been passed. So in this case, that would be really the question, how do you say what was the quote-unquote original intent? Fortunately, we have folks who developed the ordinance at the beginning that can speak to their original intent, so hopefully that will be helpful.
I think the language is original purpose.
Oh, is it in that intent? Okay, I think you're right.
Either way, I mean, it's.
If you have it in front of you, I'll trust you, but yeah.
So here's what I suggest. Perhaps by Monday's meeting, you can, and I understand if you can't point to case law, but maybe if you can give us more of a general, I'll put it in my words, more of a, general explanation of what the meaning of that is. Again, not referencing case laws or specifics, but what does, Chapter 409 within the charter, what's it talking about in general, okay? And then we'll cross that bridge as a group, if and when we get there, if we're talking about any sort of changes in original purpose. Okay, so that'll be one of those parking lot issues that may never apply, and if it does, we'll approach that and cross that together.
But we are tackling flag, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Okay. Look, I know we're going to have some longer nights ahead of us. So, for the sake of everyone's time, and again, an appreciation of your being part of this group, I have nothing more to go over tonight. So, we have homework. Again, make sure that we know what's in and contained within the four corners of this document, and then we'll be getting more into the meat and potatoes of this starting next week. Justice?
Well, I guess, especially because I won't be here Monday, I would like to maybe have some discussion tonight. Like, we do have a short time frame, and I guess like one of the purposes or the reason this commission was changed to like the ordinance beforehand rather than after was concerns based on the police union. And so I'm wondering, I would like to know what those concerns are so that we can start working on that beforehand and be prepared next week to really deal with that. So if you can sort of, I don't know if any of the folks here can outline sort of those things that we do specifically in the ordinance. What do we want to look at? What should we be looking at as we're talking and preparing for next week?
If I may. And I think you're exactly right. We need to focus on matters, but for the sake of the public process that this group represents, what I'd like to do is, again, there's a lot of misinformation that's out there. And what I know for a fact is that as we're sitting here together, we're looking at the document that we're going to be discussing. I think it's important first if we may have different levels of familiarity and comfort with what's in here. And I think it's important as a group, perhaps we let this just be a shorter meeting, recognizing again we're going to be devoting time and try to clear your schedules because we can be here. I'm willing to give the time that's needed to be here. And unfortunately, we as the clerk referenced, it happens to be a very busy time of year for the council too. We're going through budget deliberations, and the finance committee is meeting imminently. And what's on the agenda of finance tonight? Public safety. So it just has to be. We have to show a little bit of flexibility as it relates to time. And with all due respect of what you're asking about, and yes, I believe we're going to be talking about issues that arise, and as the vice chair mentioned, we'll be talking about it through agenda points. We'll be able to delve in. We'll see if we can have the clerk post an agenda So when do you need to post it by for Monday?
We would post for Friday for Monday, I had to post.
So we'll have like adequate, notice of what will be the, main points of discussion for Monday. So we all have the opportunity to, do some research, get our points of concern out there, and then move forward with what, how we go through it.
And, Mr. Chairman, it's also a known process for a particular oversight or a group like this, to delve in as when bills are there, with difficulties with it and all that. It's kind of reflective so that we can pencil the opportunity, how we're actually going to resolve whatever differences there are, or improvements, changes. So this is a normal course for an oversight, one overlooking group, to get going, because, we get our feet wet and figure out, read it, and then come in here with an adequate proposal or objection, and we all consider that, and then that's how our recommendation will become more valuable once that information is contained. That's my opinion.
Sure, and then Justice.
So maybe then a kind of a alternative or a twist on Justice's request. Could we, because I think the thing is for the community members, we know this inside out. Other than changing it back to the original language, there probably wouldn't be any other suggestions or recommendations that we would make to it. So what I think would be helpful in terms of like rolling our sleeves up and getting to work would be if for those around the table who don't like XYZ piece or have a concern or even a question about this line, this number, this section, this subsection, to be able to get as concrete as possible. Like I don't like, or the folks I represent don't like this piece because we think it will do this. Right, and to really get so specific so that then we understand what the concern, because so much of what we've heard, like you said, Mr. Chairman, it's been misinformation or things that were changed months ago or just aren't actually correct. If we could get a list of those, we can sort through what are, real concerns to try to figure out how to address or what are things that might just be misinterpretations. And I don't know if that was supposed to what you were going to say.
And along with that, I know that, I don't know what the timelines usually are for normal oversight committees, but this is a very quick turnover. I know some of the committee members already had to adjust their schedules, right? I pushed something out of the way to be here, so I would like to use this meeting effectively. Commissioner Perry's not going to be in the country. I think we should start today, and we can continue the process.
Thank you.
I definitely appreciate the urgency, and I feel the same, but I'm not sure whether everybody have the same docket. Because we know that before it might have been 30, 35, 33, 40, I don't know how many of them, but I'm not exactly sure, and I do know some of the information was from prior documents that we had seen in the past. I would feel more comfortable if this was something we went home and got ourselves just as much familiar with as the author of this document. And that way, I feel like, we'll have a better, jumping ground to jump from, you know what I'm trying to say? Instead of mentioning things that really is not already there. I would hate for us to waste our time tonight to say, well, that's not there, that's not there, that's not there. But to really understand it. Do that make sense? Or that's where I'm going. I'm just going to.
So as well, Chairman, tonight we have no choice. We're under a tight timeline. We're supposed to be in the finance meeting at 5:30. Whose budget is up. So are we looking as a group, as a panel here to forward written documentation so we can all have a better understanding? From the practitioner standpoint, the police officers, and this was part of the problem from a short while back, there are so many interpretational questions within the language that we need to be clear on. They're as important as this, so we can certainly provide that going forward, and certainly not tonight. It would foster a better understanding between everyone at the table, but we could have discussions for many hours tonight, and that's just not
so I think that reinforces the sentiment that I'm starting to hear, that it is important to, again, let's all become familiar with what's before us, what's on the table. And again, for the sake of the process is starting as this group is, as this group right now. This group is starting now. right now is when we know that everyone has the same document that we're considering, and that we'll be, issuing comments and recommendations and discussion on. And unfortunately, we do have to be cognizant that we're juggling it. It took some juggling to get this meeting together, and I too had to reschedule other commitments. So I reiterate my appreciation for everyone doing that, and let's try to build in for more time as we're moving forward.
Is it possible for you to forward those concerns in written form to the email list or something so that we, in addition, our homework is to think about how to answer those concerns?
Chair, before is that? That's why.
I don't have an issue with that.
I did, yeah. So my only caution on that would be that it would be fine for one person to disseminate information to the group, but we can't be having any back.
Right, because it was dealing with, that's
So,
true.
so for people who have not aren't as familiar, basically for anyone who's not a member of the city council, we're now all subject to the Open Meetings Act. So a quorum of us can engage in communications regarding the substance of our charge. So I think it's fine to send out information in advance of the next meeting. It's just important that it be a one-way street.
It can't be a discussion.
Right.
It would be something to send it to.
Yeah, great, that's a great
So
idea.
maybe that's the way. Nick has something to add.
For the record, Nick Freeman, Manager of Policy Research, City Council Office. I was going to suggest, what if people have feedback, if they have comments, if they have concerns with the bill, that they send emails on that to Lori, as the city clerk, and to myself, and then we can, and to Sid, and we can use that to put together agendas for the upcoming meetings, and, balance that discussion.
I think that's great. Okay.
Is-
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Please.
Is Nick staffing is he going to be staffing this?
I'm committed to being here for every meeting.
Yes, I am.
That's good. That's a great. So just to be clear with that, everyone, what we'll do is, and Madam Clerk, if you could just disseminate to everyone your email, Nick's, and Sid's. And again, I think what we're hearing here is that any points of discussion will go through them and will be used to devise an agenda that we'll be using as the basis of this conversation moving forward.
That's what I was thinking.
Yep, wonderful. That's wonderful.
Don't ever have a reply all.
Well, and you know what, and because it's going through them, it won't involve us, we don't have to worry about it. Madam Clerk, for the record, can you show that Councilwoman Bryan is present? Thank you. Okay, so if there's not anything more, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to meet next on Monday, May 15th at 5:30. Motion made by Vice Chair Patrick, seconded by Chief Clements. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, guys.